We're just waiting for a few more people to join. Fahim, when did you start working from office now?
Good question, Anu. Yeah, it's been. So I like to work from office as much as I can, and our offices were open. So with 50% capacity, they're open for the last 6 months now.
All right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I've been in and out. Yeah, a few days from office, few days from home. So yeah, it's a combination working well.
Nice, nice.
By yourself, you're working from home?
Still, we'll continue maybe a couple of months till we get necessary approvals from the COP. Yeah. Almost adapted this new life, I would say. Yeah. How about you, Mr. Munir?
Yeah, I am working from home. I mean, in let's say the university challenge we have is online learning.
Yes.
So we have our own challenges here, but yeah, I have been working from home. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that will change next semester, but there is a lot of planning have to take place before we move to
Absolutely.
that situation.
Sumar, were you able to contact them?
Yes, the team is contacting them. Just give us
Okay.
another 5 minutes and we shall start.
No worries. Okay.
Thank you.
Varun, you're based in Abu Dhabi, right?
Me?
Yes, I'm located working out of Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Work from home scenario going on, except the essential services like some of the help desk people or some of the knock and specific SOC people. Rest of them are pretty much work from home for us.
Interesting. We have Sabyasachi joining. Hello, Sabyasachi. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm actually, just give me 2 minutes. I'm coming back.
Take your time. We are waiting for a few more people to join. No problem.
Okay, thanks.
Varun, usually for work purpose, do you travel to Dubai? Pre-COVID days?
Not really. I'm actually a resident of Dubai, but my home is,
Okay.
yeah. So I recently moved to Dubai during the COVID time, and then now we are having work from home. Plus, next year onwards, we might be having hybrid model coming in. So it might not be that challenging to travel to and fro from Dubai to Abu Dhabi. Maybe like a couple of days in a week or so.
New norm, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope this will open up soon and we can travel easily. Yeah.
Sorry to keep you waiting. We will just wait exactly another 2 minutes, then we will start. Because Dr. Hamad Al-Moani is joining us now. So I will just wait for another 2 minutes, then we will start the session. Thank you.
I think someone is asking for the link on the WhatsApp account.
Yes, my team should revert back to them now.
Late, sorry.
No worries. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Hamad.
Alaikum salam. I'm good. Just busy during the GITEX,
Yeah.
Are you there in World Trade Center now?
Yes, and I'm here at one of Etisalat meeting room.
I was supposed to pass by yesterday. I have a couple of meetings there. How is the crowd today?
So far, so good.
Inshallah.
Just the beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Hamad, we were just waiting for you to start the session.
Somar, your voice is a bit low.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak louder?
Is it okay now?
Better, yeah.
Okay, good. First of all, good morning, everyone. We would like to thank you for participating in this exclusive discussion sponsored by Mimecast. I just want you to know that after this session, Mimecast will create an ebook and share it with all of you. So if anyone does not want his name to be quoted, please let us know so we can keep it as anonymous. And if you decide to be quoted, Mimecast, of course, they will send you the draft for your approval before they publish it. I will start by introducing the participants before I hand it over to Anoop Das from Mimecast. First, I would like to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Hamad Khalifa Al-Nuaimi. Dr. Hamad is the head of telecommunications section at Abu Dhabi Police Telecom Department. Also, we have the attendees, Mr. Kashif Khan. I think he will join us in a while. He's the manager of information security and project information technology at Abu Dhabi National Insurance Company. Mr. Munir Bartalawi, he's the head of information systems and technology management department at Zayed University. Also, we have Mr. Varun Srivastava. He's the CTI head at Injazat Mubadala. Mr. Akib Omar, Group Manager IT Infrastructure at Al Ghurair Group. I believe he will be joining us soon. Mr. Cedric Wardi, Director Digital Trust and Cybersecurity at DO. Mr. Maher Ibrahim, Manager IT Infrastructure at Sharjah Islamic Bank. Mr. Nitin J. Thomas, Head of IT at Amity University. Also, Ms. Mansoura Kazi, she's VP of Information Security at First Abu Dhabi Bank. Mr. Sabyasachi Daj, Head of IT Infrastructure at Al-Tayr Group, and Mr. Adam Al-Adama, Manager of Information Security at Abu Dhabi Ports. Anu, please take it over from here. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Somar. Thank you. Again, thank you all for joining in. There is JITEX going on. There is a busy schedule. Few of us are working from home. Few of us are back to office. So thank you for taking time and joining the panel. 1 second, I think I should mute someone. All right. Anyways, thank you so much also for introducing. So my name is Anup. I manage the enterprise business for Mimecast in this region. I've been in this country for, this is my 14th year. And with Mimecast, more than 2.5 years. And I have my colleagues joined with me. I have Brian, who is a senior director for sales engineering, EMEA. He's joining in from South Africa. I have Werner Gives, who's our regional manager for Gulf. And we have other colleagues from Mimecast. Rafat is managing the technical and sales engineering in this region. So I have two topics to discuss. One is adapting to this new norm, because I was reading this article yesterday, which was published in Gulf News, where Dr. Mohammed Hamad Al-Kuwaiti, head of cybersecurity UAE government, mentioned what they saw. There is an increase of at least 250% of cyber attacks. And he specifically mentioned the state actors across the region and the kind of trends, what is happening. Before I start, I want to give the floor to Brian to introduce and to give a very high-level brief on what we have been seeing as Mimecast, what the trends are. Over to you, Brian.
Thanks very much, Anup. So I've been asked just to kind of set the scene here, just to kind of lay some track for some conversation starters, I guess, just around where things are going in terms of adapting to the new normal. Where did we come from? How did we get here? And what I'd like to actually do is just kind of go back a few years to 2017, so not too far back. And just talk about what actually was a step change. It shouldn't have actually come as a massive surprise to anyone in cybersecurity. But the trouble with things that evolve slowly is you don't really notice them until suddenly something big pops up. And what popped up in 2017, which I'm sure you all remember very well, was the NotPetya ransomware, which struck Ukraine. What I'm not going to do is talk to you about all the negative things that happened. I think we're all fully aware of those. It caused over $1 billion in damages to many global organizations. What's more interesting about NotPetya, though, is not the organizations that got hit. It's the organizations that didn't, who were also in Ukraine. And unfortunately, this is a little bit of a US-centric example because a lot of the data in that comes from US companies. But what you see is that there were, the sort of famous ones that got into the media, banks, airports, power companies in Ukraine itself, and then a lot of the American and global companies like Maersk, etc., that all got hit. What's not that obvious and was not like sort of that blatant was companies who were there who were completely unaffected. So things like companies like Hyatt Hotels, Abbott Laboratories, Boeing, DuPont, Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson. There's a very, very long list of companies that were absolutely fine. And so you've got to kind of ask the question is, how come some companies and organizations were really badly hit and some weren't? And Richard Clark is actually quite an interesting guy. He wrote a book about it called The Fifth Domain, and he talks about cyber being that fifth domain. Domains in military terms as land, sea, and air, obviously, the one
to secure the whole country's ecosystem and to protect the citizens. But when this pandemic happened, it was all of a sudden, and you are in charge of the telco as well, or network. Did you move your staff to a remote setup?
Thank you, Anup, for this question. And I guess, well, first of all, I would like to thank Agora for this wonderful event and the invitation on being part of this great group of people and experts in cybersecurity. And your question about law enforcement and the police department, and especially my telecom division, how did we deal with our employees and staff during the pandemic?
Yes.
Well, first of all, as Brian said, it was the new normal. And as what His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Hamid Kuwaiti, the head of cyber new federal agency, which has been formatted lately by the federal government, the new normal. I guess it's a new normal with so many positive and so many negative. But from my perspective and the police perspective, we said it was more positive for our people and employees and our community. Indeed, we were very, very ready. And as you know, the police or law enforcement, police department, defense, we have to be 24/7 ready. It doesn't matter if it's going to be like pandemic, COVID-19, or whatever reason or crisis or event that we are having. We have to be ready all the time. Of course, we send our people home to work. Some of them, it wasn't easy to work from home because their daily job and routine, it was on field. So going from home were no use. So staying at work, since the position of their job is to be on field. For example, smart vehicles and the police officers on the street, traffic policemen, but other sections as HR, finance, training, yes, it was very easy. And we use our own network.
Mm.
Actually, we are also building our own LTE network, which is private. And I don't think that we are going to use a VPN or any a cloud solution soon, but who knows? The challenges, it's always there. And one of the consequences that has been for the pandemic ecosystem for us is to test and use more AI technology and software to enhance the secure and the safety of the society. And as you read, I don't know if you are all here in United Arab Emirates lately, I mean yesterday, literally, Abu Dhabi Police with a cooperation with Abu Dhabi Digital Authority announced that at the beginning of next year, the use of AI technology is going to be involved in the field for checking the people using their seatbelts or phones while they are driving. So this is not to fine and punish people as much as to make the street and highway secure and safe for the drivers. So I guess we had a wonderful benefit time from COVID-19 in terms of using the technology and telecommunication, but not as the economy and other fields that I'm not engaged in.
Interesting.
Back to you, Anup.
Thank you for that insight. Interestingly, we have these state actors behind a lot of threats to the country nowadays. To Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Hamad again, I just have one more question. Have you noticed anything specifically targeting Abu Dhabi Police? For example, Abu Dhabi Police sites are widely used by the citizens. Have you noticed any targeted threats against Abu Dhabi Police that you can refer to?
Well, as Brian said, the attacks has been growing rapidly recently. And this is because the use of the internet so much from the user. But I guess the attack, it doesn't have to be from outside. The user behavior always play a big role on attacks on an organization or a network. It always got to be from the user behavior. We haven't actually noticed any attacks lately, but there is always some, as you mentioned, Anoop, there is always a bad guys out there. And
Yep.
whenever we are working 100% to secure our network and our system, they're always working 101%. They are always ahead of us. But
Absolutely.
I believe that with the security policies and laws, the restrictions that we are facing in our environment, this would probably have an effect on the number of the attacks and the bad behaviors that we are seeing in our network.
Interesting. That's a very good point about the awareness and yes, looking into the human behavior. I totally agree with you. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Hamad.
You're welcome.
This is a question to Fahim, Muhammad Fahim, who manages Shalhoub Group. I would say one of the largest retail transformation organization in this region. I was lucky to be part of their early adoption of cloud to work with Shalhoub, and congrats for becoming $1 billion valued company now. And I'm sure it comes with a lot of risk as well. So when the pandemic happened, you would have seen a lot of changes immediately because the organizations relies heavily on technology. So especially recently, I heard the FBI and CISA issued a joint notification saying that, auto forwarding rules, for example, in web-based emails created a lot of issues in terms of business email compromise, impersonation. What have you seen in terms of targeted attacks to MCT, or while you enhanced your digital transformation? Specifically, is there anything you have noticed against Shalhoub?
All right. Thank you so much, Anup, for giving me the opportunity to talk through some experiences. So there are two aspects to this. One is how pandemic has affected us, right? And what challenges we face. So this is one topic, and another topic I'll come later, as you mentioned, how we are affected from phishing emails and targeted attacks, for example. So as far as pandemic is concerned, now you know that what happened actually in the last 6 months ago. Actually, the stores were closed, and as a retail company, we heavily rely on, originally we were relying more on the bricks and mortar kind of stores rather than more on the digital side of the things. But as pandemic hit the market and the stores were closed, malls were closed, and it was a huge challenge for the group to cope with that situation. So what we did basically, we did the digital transformation.
Mubadala. Varun, from your perspective, I mean, you have all these intelligence and you've been providing this intelligence to large organizations. What is that, or how would this affect the security consideration, for example, in the future? Now, you said there is a chance of going to a hybrid mode, work from home mode. What does that, affect the security consideration when you adapt that?
Thanks, Anup, and thanks for the invite to this wonderful event. So basically, in this scenario, especially given that we are going through a worldwide crisis and all these new transition and changes are happening across the organizations, where there was a zero concept of work from home, especially in the government domain. So we have seen that from the threat intel point of view. When, for example, let's say 2 or 3 years back, threat intel was at the backseat. Now they are actually right in the center point, or I would say right in the forefront of how cybersecurity is managed across even smaller organizations to a large or major conglomerate. From our perspective, as you're aware, we are a very diversified group. We have got utilities, we have got energy, we have got petroleum and other assets under our purview. So threat intel point of view, we see that, for example, shift to a work from home scenario, shift to working from office scenario, all those things, pretty much are always there since the time of inception, when the cybersecurity was set up for our organization. And with this advent, we saw that, whatever preparedness we had, that has been brought into effect as of now. So As recently you said about CISA and NSA alerts, so we see that almost on a weekly or a monthly basis since COVID has been in effect, and there has been major rise in nation-state threat actors utilizing VPN-based vulnerabilities and remote working mechanisms to exploit vulnerabilities and exfiltrate data from the organizations. So keeping that thing in mind, threat intel actually is playing a very major role in ensuring that we are kind of one step ahead of what these crime or cybercrime actors or threat actors are actually doing. And by the time they are, for example, in a certain early stage of, let's say, if I talk about MITRE framework, then if they are in the early stage of recon or almost initiating lateral movement, we are able to detect those TDPs in the environment, for example, getting that information from threat intel perspective and implementing that through our solution stack. So, again, business email compromise is one of the major pain factor that we have seen a major rise in the past, I would say 4 to 5 months. And we saw a peak in about October last month. And then now it is kind of going down because I think we are moving to a vaccine stage. So now cyber actors are targeting pharmaceutical companies. Very recently, I think 2 or 3 days back, there was a major threat campaign that was raised by North Korean actors, especially targeting pharmaceutical companies globally with the BEC campaign. So, you can see these shifts and all happening, but, somebody has to have that eye and ear for what all is happening around the globe before, something happens in the environment. So that's where, as I said, it is for us to take a center stage and, bring that awareness and situational information to top management. They take cognizance of that information and then, they drive decision making based on the input we are providing.
That's great. I picked up a point that before the symptoms start showing, we should be doing things proactively. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with you, Varun. Yeah. 3 kids here, and all of them are doing, e-learning. And recently, I was paying my kids' fees online, and then after doing the payment, it took me to a different page, which was related to Apache. I was wondering what happened. I'm sure you all have family at home, and generally educational institutes are also targeted heavily. I have a question to Nitin at MET. Nitin, when the e-learning started, how quickly were you able to communicate your security policies, best practices, and that part of the group of people like the teachers to provide awareness to them? How easy was it for you at MET? Nitin, I think you're on mute. Okay, so I think for some reason Nitin is not able to hear us. Mr. Munir, you're also into the same educational sector. Maybe you can throw some light into what you have seen at Zayed University, or when you started that e-learning. What have you done with the teachers?
Yeah, thank you so much, Anup, and thank you for the invitation. Very interesting discussions here. I mean, although all of us are sharing the same probably symptoms of this cybersecurity, maybe the environment are different in academia. But I think we are very lucky that our infrastructure is very, very, very good. I'm speaking about my university, Zayed University, but also I'm talking about